Flawless family. We are again here to have another great conversation, this time with our dear Flawless friend, Francesca Bas. And Francesca is someone that we've done a lot of work with over here at Flawless. She is an award winner. I'm just really excited to have this conversation here today with Francesca so she can tell you more about herself and her experiences with everything going on with brain health and COVID-19 and some of the work that she's doing with everything going on with diet culture. So, Francesca, first off, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love being here.
Of course. And so, start off with the first question, Francesca. I mean, with everything going on with the COVID-19 crisis, it's the biggest topic in the news. It's affecting us everywhere globally. So, how has the COVID-19 crisis impacted you? And, how are you doing, during quarantine?
Yeah, it was all very fast over here. So I live in the Netherlands, and basically I was studying for my midterms. It was probably about midnight, and then I received this email from the school saying midterms are canceled tomorrow, and we won't have school for the rest of the semester. And I knew that my parents were going to go into quarantine in a small house in the middle of the mountains of Spain so that they would have some space to walk outside safely. So I decided to go with them, and we pulled the 26-hour drive, and I was there for 2 months. It was really challenging, but definitely a very introspective time. So found some silver linings for sure. And now I'm back home in the Netherlands, still keeping social distancing and just trying to stay on track with university and my mental health and keep moving forward.
Wow, and I mean the first thing, the fact that you drove 26 hours is mind blowing to me.
Yes,
You know?
imagine 26 hours in a tiny car with your parents is.
Oh my God, that's whew. Hey, you were able to do so. So quarantine must not be too bad for you if you can handle 26 hours in a car.
Yeah.
But I love how you talked about you found out like when you were preparing for an exam, like and then boom, exams were canceled. So can you just talk about more about your experience as a student? Because you're still a student, you're still taking classes. So
Yeah.
how has it been, in school but from home for you?
It's been really challenging. I'm a person that really learns through like experiencing things and hearing things. And so being in a classroom setting is amazing for me, where I'm able to consistently like talk to people next to me and ask them, oh, did you understand that same thing? And hearing the professor and being able to talk with them. So moving online, some of my professors chose to continue doing online classes, whereas others just said, read the textbook. And I think especially the first month was really challenging for me because I didn't take the time to sit down and write down a schedule for myself. So I was a little bit all over the place, just trying to cram, get things done, but wasn't really sure. Everything was a little bit up in the air. I wasn't too sure about everything. So one day I said, Francesca, I talk to myself a lot, kind of weird, but it's okay. You can't keep doing this. This isn't working. And so I started making a routine for myself. And that helped so much. I set out a calendar with all my due dates, and I said, okay, so each day I'm going to study from this time to this time, and then I'm going to take some stuff to do some things that I want to do to grow during this time as well. So coming up with a routine and also Zooming with friends to study has been key for me.
And something I want to specify to everyone watching that is that right now you're overseas. You're in the Netherlands, and so
Yeah.
how has it been? How are you perceiving the COVID-19 crisis? How is it overseas in the Netherlands and compared to the United States? Because you used to live over here in the United States, you lived in Oregon. So how has it been? Like, how can you compare it? Have you talked to people that are still over here living in the United States, their experience versus your experience? Can you just speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a little bit crazy because actually, so I'm from Italy, so all of my family lives in Italy, and they've, if you haven't heard, they've been on extreme lockdown for 3 months. Yeah, 3 months now, and it's been very rough there, not being able to go outside at all, being stuck in little apartments. Spain is quite similar, and coming back here in the Netherlands was a bit of a shock for me because there's definitely social distancing. However, the strict quarantine rules don't really apply here. So it was very, very different. And yeah, I have been talking to a lot of my friends back home in Oregon, as well as New York, and it seems similar to the situation in the Netherlands with social distancing. Of course, it depends so much on state to state as well. But it's been really interesting seeing how each government has taken it and how people are adjusting to it. I think, especially in the beginning, people didn't understand how serious it was. I know I didn't, until it kind of hits where you are. And then you take a step back and say, oh, wow, this is something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. And, as we mentioned, you spent some time in Oregon. I want to speak a little bit more about the work you actually did in Oregon, especially because May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, like, now that you and I are face to face right now, because when I first came to Flawless, one of my first assignments was to, Janine told me, she was like, hey, we're nominating this amazing girl for this award. And, so I went on and I helped get you nominated. And then boom, we fast forward and now you and I are face to face. You were that amazing girl. And you won. You won the award that we helped nominate you for. And that was the Keep Oregon Well Mental Health Hero Award. So, do you just want to speak a little bit about like what that award was and
Absolutely.
activism with We the Wild Youth?
Yeah. So after a few years of going through a lot of mental health challenges, when I started my healing journey, I heard a quote that really stuck to me, which is, hold on, it's been a minute. Don't accept the things that you can't change, but change the things you cannot accept any longer. And that really resonated with me. And I realized that in my community, something that was missing was this openness to talk about mental health and how important it is and how it really affects so many people. And so I decided that I would start this event, We the Wild Youth. I had no idea how I would do it. I had no sponsors. I would talk to people about it and they were very, very confused. But then I found two nonprofits that started sponsoring me for it. And then Planned Parenthood got involved, the ACLU, and it quickly grew. So basically this event consisted of 5 speakers, one of them being myself, all talking about different mental health challenges from end situations, kind of in TEDx sort of format, from transitioning from female to male, speaking about being on the autism spectrum in our society, and all really, really amazing topics. And we had a bunch of youth come. It was free for all youth, and we had a lot of booths like Planned Parenthood to be of service to the youth there. And it was really an amazing event. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of that I've ever done. And that really showed me that if you really want to do something and you go out for it and you just don't listen to the no's and you listen to the 1 in 100 yeses, you can definitely do it. And so back to the award that I won, which I was awed. So I actually went to this award ceremony in 2015 or 14 when Janine won it. And of course, I thought it was a fabulous event. I never in a million years would have thought that I would be one of the nominees. But then a few months went by, and in 2019, I received an email saying that I had been nominated for this award, which I already thought was super cool. At this point, I didn't think that I would actually win it, but I was like, oh my gosh, the fact that she thought of me, it really warmed my heart. And then actually, you shouldn't do this, but I was in science class and I might have been on my email. And I saw the email of congratulations, you won. And so of course I was ecstatic. I mean, what a big award. So basically this award is an award that Oregon gives out from Trillium, and they honor 31 mental health heroes to honor the May month of mental health awareness. And these were such amazing individuals, and they held this big gala where I got to meet all of the other nominees, and wow, it was truly amazing. And I have photos on my wall, and the Keep Oregon Well, I have so many photos from it everywhere. It just brings such a big smile to my face.
Not only is that an inspiring story, but then it's also just a motivating story to hear, like you said, you start off with nothing but an idea, but you were just like, I'm just going to go get it. And especially you saying, don't listen to the no's, listen to that 1/100 yes. Like, there's just so much there to unpack. And I'm just glad that I was a little minor part of it, you know, a little
huge part, Trey.
no, stop it. I was just a little intern back in the day, you know, how you get nominated, but wow, glad to be a part of that, you know, experience. And that really just showed the type of go-getter you are and the type of things you're willing to do to help out others. And you're continuing that because, you know, recently you started up a pretty helpful YouTube channel where you discuss, you know, impactful topics like body image and diet culture. So can you just tell us more about what inspired you to do this?
Yeah, of course. So when I was 15, I got a pretty bad eating disorder. I had anorexia nervosa and really was put on a back burner for a long time until my health kind of got to a point where I had to tell someone because there was no other option, and I was at a really scary point, even though I didn't realize it, but obviously my family and everyone was realizing it. And so I went through a bunch of different treatments, and the kind of treatments that I was put in, I didn't help me. And of course, everything suits everyone different, but I felt like they actually made things a little bit worse for me. And then I got out and I found the most amazing therapist, which therapists are kind of like dating. It takes a lot to meet the right one. So I felt very lucky when I met her. And yeah, she changed my life. And she was the first person who told me, you are not your disorder. Your disorder is not failing over you. And that was huge to me because everyone had been talking to me like I was my disorder. So I intertwined it with my identity. And this was when my mind shift started. I used to be very negative, but then I started to really believe everything happens for a reason, and this is my reason. I would never wish this disorder upon anyone, but now I know what I want to do, which is I really want to link the bridge between positive psychology and eating disorder recovery. That's my dream. And so in these days in quarantine, I was seeing, and actually I spoke about this too in We the Wild Youth event. I can leave a link somewhere of a little snippet of the event and my speech. It was so amazing. I love doing that. And during the coronavirus times, I have been keeping in touch with some girls that I volunteer for at an eating disorder clinic here in the Netherlands. And I had just been hearing all these things, and I saw these things on the internet that are super triggering about like gaining a bunch of weight during the coronavirus and things like that, which really shows how toxic our diet culture is, that all this stuff is going on and we're so obsessed with something like that. And so I decided, you know, I'm not seeing anything on the internet that goes super against these things. So I guess I'll just put myself out there. And so I started a little YouTube channel just talking about this and hoping to bring some awareness about it, because I'm sure that people aren't maliciously trying to put things out there. You know, people are probably just trying to make light of a situation, but I think it's really important to call people out a little bit and make them think about how other people might react to the content they're posting. So my YouTube videos are really just in hope to help people feel supported, understood, and also help educate people a little bit.
Yeah, and that's amazing. First off, thank you for sharing that and being open about that, because even just you sharing your experience, that helps so many people to get this information, this knowledge out there. But secondly, how you mentioned how it's affecting people during COVID. I'm a little more interested to learn more about that, because like you said, like, you know, I mean, when things are going in the supermarkets, and I know a lot of people, as someone that's heavy into fitness, a lot of people are worried about that. They're not able to go to the gym, you know, they're like, oh, it's hard to work from home and whatever. So people that don't even have a lot of those, you know, brain health challenges are being affected by it. I can't imagine people that are dealing with diet culture and body image, what they're going through. So I don't know if you just want to speak a little bit more about the experience of someone that's going through that, like what they're actually going through right now with COVID-19.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other night. I feel so lucky to be in the position that I'm in, being recovered, because I can imagine being in this position in COVID-19 when I was in the midst of my eating disorder, and that would be so challenging, because really when you are deep within an eating disorder, or any disorder for that matter, it takes up a lot of energy and a lot of brain power. And of course, in some situations, not all eating disorders, but in some you may feel very malnourished, and so it takes so much energy from you. And being stuck at home all day and not being able to go out to see friends, being stuck, sometimes in the kitchen all day it can take a really big toll on a person and make recovery a lot harder. So one tip that I have for everyone out there is, recovery is like a staircase. You can't jump on top of the staircase, even though I know you really want to. It's about taking the steps. So if you take a little bit of a step back, you're not all the way on the bottom. But really try, if there's someone, in your house who you feel comfortable with, just tell them the things that you're struggling with and what you need help with. I know it's really hard because sometimes the eating disorder voice feels louder, but just because the voice that's loudest in your head is the loudest, it doesn't mean it's the right one or the one you have to follow. So I really, really recommend you to, seek out for help, whether it's with someone in the home or your friends or a professional. It's so key, especially in these really challenging times.
Wow, that's an amazing tip. I guess the last question we have is to ask you for more tips. I want to know more about your self-care tips. What does Francesca do to regulate herself when she wants to wind down? Like, what do you do to practice self-care?
Well, Francesca's been having a hard week, to be completely honest, because I'm in finals week right now, and I have ADHD and dyslexia, which I've totally learned to work with and use it as my advantage. But exams are very, very challenging for me. And so I've definitely had some times where I'm like, fuck my mental health, I can't do this. And then I get that rebalance, that voice in my head that's like, Francesca, this is good for you. And so some things that I found key are having a routine. So every morning I like to wake up, and one of my really good friends, Luke, likes to wake up early too, which I think me and him are the only people in university who wake up at the time that we do, but that's okay. So we wake up and we go on the quad, of course, with a distance, and we do a little workout routine. Depends what we're feeling in the morning. If we're feeling something heavy, then we'll pick one of his videos, or we might do some yoga or just something to move our bodies a bit. And that's a great way for me to start the day. Then I have a really yummy breakfast, just depending on whatever I'm feeling. And then I like to make 3 overarching goals of the day. This has helped me a lot because when we put our goals down on paper, we tell them to someone, we feel more likely to do them. So usually one has to do with school. So like today it was study for my psychology exam. And then one has to do with self-care. So for me, that was painting today. And then another one is random. So today for me, this was this video for you, but another day it might be Zoom call a friend or something like that. And that's been helping me stay on track a lot. But it's definitely a balance. And I know that sometimes I just want to lay in bed all day long and watch Tiger King or, binge watch Harry Potter. That's something that I did the other day. And you kind of have to realize, it's okay if we're spending a little bit more time being relaxed because we have so much time on our hands, but also if we're starting to feel like we're watching so much content that's taking up our entire day and we're not doing anything for self-care, it's really, really challenging, but we have to kind of think about it and say like, okay, when this coronavirus time is over, I know that I'm going to have an accompaniment of many, many new TV shows and movies that I watched. But is that really all that I want out of this experience, or do I want to try and take this unique time to at least work on something, whatever that may be?
Nah, I love all that. I'm especially happy that today I'm a part of your self-care. I love that our conversation is a little bit regulating. But no, that's awesome. I loved all of that. Those are all great tips. And, to the Falls family, if you want more tips, if you want more from Francesca, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is make sure you check out our Instagram. Under our highlights, you'll see Friday with Francesca, where she gives so much great tips, so much great resources to help you. So that's the first thing I'm going to tell you to do. Second thing is to follow her on Instagram at Francesca_Bas. We'll highlight that. We'll make sure that that's available for you in the video edits, of course. And with that, again, thank you for sharing the time with us, Francesca.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me and for watching this. I'm wishing you guys all my love and all my positive energy, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.